good morning and welcome. The Patriot Radio News Hour live on this Thursday, the day after. As we heard from the Federal Reserve yesterday, and I told you, I know which way gold's going to go. Gold is up, silver, well, look out. Silver's getting red hot. We'll talk about that. We got, first of all, got a bunch of things that got to get out of the way. A bunch of them. First, I will not be here tomorrow. It's the new modern version of a vacation. My youngest son, they're the varsity football team at my son's high school is going to a football camp, passing league, they call it, camp in San Diego. So, because, let's face it, no one could really take a lot of time off. My wife and I are also going to go. We are going to leave our 18-year-old son at home with our two new wiener dog puppies. I know probably not the smartest parenting move, but we're hopeful that the dogs will be okay and that the house will still be there when we get back. And actually, we got two pretty good kids, so we're not really too worried. But he volunteered. He was a little too eager with the volunteering of, I'll stay. So we're going to be out there. We're going to leave after. I'm going to leave after this show. We're going to drive out to San Diego, and we'll be there tonight, tomorrow, and then Saturday when the event ends, and then we'll drive back Saturday night. Of course, Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. So important. And I talk about the real heroes, right? The people out there. Mom's working, dad's working. A lot of you are working multiple jobs, and especially the ones that support their kids. Congratulations to all of you. We had mom's big day last month. Now it's dad's turn. And for any of you people that are fortunate enough to still have your dads still alive and kicking, reach out. Even if, even if there's bad blood, reach out and be the bigger man and reach out and tell your dad Happy Father's Day. And maybe if you're lucky enough, right, you can do something family-wise. I love doing family stuff. I'm actually kind of bummed out my older son's not going to go, but traveling with the puppies just wasn't an option for us. Brian and Jason are going to be on. It's going to be a surprise. They won't even tell me what they're going to do. And so it's a much different show, but it's very entertaining. They always bring up a lot of different things that leave you scratching your head or give you something to think about, which I always like. That's really, at the end of the day, really all we want to do here is give you something to think about each and every day. And so keep your eyes peeled on that. I've got Silver Eagles. I've got some cheap ones. We're going to do that today. We're going to talk about yesterday's special and do something on the gold side as well, so stay tuned for that. I'm trying to go through I should write things down. I'm at that point now. I need to write stuff down. I didn't used to. But now, you know what, and Eric, when we first started working together, he never wrote anything down, and by the end, he'd have his list of things. I gotta get into that habit because I always end up forgetting everything. But I do know this, we're all caught up in both places, both in Colorado and in Arizona. By the way, Colorado, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. It's going to take a while, but things are changing up there. I know right now you may not notice it, but you're gonna. We got some new blood coming into the station, so stay tuned for that. I don't want to say anything more than that. What else? I'm not going to be here. Arlene will be here, so don't worry. You can still obviously place all your orders. Jason and Brian are going to be doing the show. Happy Father's Day. And big news. So not only was our central bank out, the European central bank was out, the Japanese central bank was out. We had retail sales come out, And we're going to try to get through all of those things and so much more. Trade wars heating up, this time from the European Union. They have come out with a list of things. I'll tell you what those are. News that we're going to announce more sanctions on China. We're going to possibly even talk ZTE. For those of you that don't know what that is, you've heard of Cricket Wireless. They sell the Chinese phones, and, of course, that's the company that stole a bunch of technology. The Trump administration wanted to fine them $1 billion and fire everybody, right? All the board had to be fired, the CEO, the president, all the big shots. Of course, it makes you wonder why they didn't do that to Wells Fargo. Well, you can understand, because they were just ripping you off, and then in that case, it's okay. And pay $1 billion fine. Today, Congress is talking about not allowing that to happen. And quite honestly, I get it. I do. And now the Chinese are waiting on, I guess, some tariffs possibly coming down as early as tomorrow. So the trade wars are all heating up. So we got a lot of ground to cover today. Patriot Radio News Hour, 800-951-0592. And, of course, the website keeps you in the know, allamericangold.com. And Ramon's been doing a great job keeping that site updated Monday through Friday. Got to make it part of that daily routine. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. 800-951-0592. Gold's 1304. It's up 7 or 5 or 4, depending on where you look. But 1304 silver. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and maybe now silver is up 25, 28, 29 cents yesterday. It's up 25, 28, 29 cents again today. Now 17.25. So for the first time in a month, something like that, I've got, it's not a ton, but we'll take it. Got 150 rolls of backdate Silver Eagles. If you want current year, I can get them 2018s. We can get them. They're the exact same coin, right? They're Silver Eagles. They're 1 ounce. They come in rolls of 20, right? And they come in the plastic tube with the green top. But there's a difference in the price. If you want a fresh one, if you will, which I don't understand it, but, it is what it is, right? Because I always think, you know what? In another 6 months, these are going to be backdates. 2018 is $410 a roll. That's good. That's a good price. But you know me. I like to pay a good price. I want to pay a great price. We've got 150 rolls of backdate Silver Eagles, $400. You're saving 50 cents an ounce. It's like $2.75, give or take, right? So $2.75 over spot. That's a great price. Got 150 rolls of that. Yesterday, remember, I did first time ever, we did a price lock, lead pipe lock of the week. Of course, I knew gold's going up. I think all of you did too. So I don't know. It wasn't like a big brave move on my part. But you could buy yesterday. I told you $12.95. If gold closed below $12.95, we still got tomorrow. That I would lower the price and all that stuff. So you're guaranteed to be able to buy 20s at no worse than $30 over spot. We're going to do similar today, where it's going to be $31. We're going to do 20s today, Liberties and Saints. I would like it to be, let me do it for you, because it'll work out better for everybody. But if you really need to have the Liberties or you really need to have the Saints, okay, let us know. 1335. Okay, so good. Gold's 1304. So 1335 at 951-0592, 1335 on 20s. Right. And by the way, this isn't the big move. Right? This is just the, hey, we're going to get back kind of where we're supposed to be, and then we'll look at things. And then, of course, Silver Eagles. Don't let the silver go by. Right? I'm essentially taking away the last 2 days of movement. Silver's gone up over 50 cents, more than 50 cents in the last 2 days. I'm taking it all away. U.S. Silver Eagle rolls at 400. 800-951-0592. The Federal Reserve raised rates yesterday, shocking absolutely no one. Here's what was really impressive. This was kind of our first real look at Jerome Powell, as the new Fed chair. What a difference. We'll see if it changes, but he's got a little cowboy in him. The Fed statement, I've been doing this a long time, and when they release a statement, it's not that it's long, but it's a two-pager. First time that, at least that I can remember, that it's only been one. So you think about all the stuff that's going on in the world today, we can summarize it in one page. You know what? Maybe they're not working on them. I don't know, but okay, one page. His actual press conference was the shortest press conference, again, in going back to Greenspan. Now, Greenspan talks, no one even knew what he said. Jay Powell, very, very clear. When he gave his comments about the economy, he said that the U.S. economy, and I'm going to quote here, is in great shape. Yep, great shape. And the dot chart. Remember, I told you we're going to focus in on the dot chart. I've got it. I'm going to get to it. Take my word for it. I don't know how the media gets to where they get, but I will say this. There was a change to the dot plot chart by one dot. But that one dot essentially said now, hey, there's going to be 2 more rate hikes this year. And you know what? Maybe. I don't know. But I'll give you the breakdown. There was 2 dots. Okay, 2 dots that said no more hikes this year. There were 5 dots that said 1 more hike. There were 3, 6, 7 dots that said 2 hikes, and then 1 dot wants 5. So I don't know what that guy's smoking, but there was how the dot chart broke down 8 to 7 in the 2 hikes or 3 hikes versus 4 hikes for the year. So right now 8 to 7 for 4 hikes this year. Think about that. Now here's what was funny though. When you go to 2019, the dot chart stayed the same. In other words, we may go 1 more in 18, but then 1 less in 19. We'll have to wait to see. But Jay Powell was not a very long press conference, very direct. Here's what you need to really know. He got pressed on inflation. And Jay Powell said, well, we understand that, inflation, it can't be exactly 2%. Of course not. It's going to be a little lower, a little higher. And then he said something where I just wanted to, when you want to, and I'm an abnormal person. I wanted to reach through my laptop and jump in there and grab the microphone and start peppering him with a bunch of follow-up questions. Kind of like, when you're watching your favorite, like when I watch Syracuse basketball and there's a bad call and I want to jump through the television. Kind of like that. He said that the Federal Reserve thinking, I'm like, you didn't overreact. You brought rates to 0. And you left them there for like 10 years. You bought $4 trillion of bonds and put them on your balance sheet. And now you're slowly trying to get rid of those. Right? We did QE1, QE2, QE3, twist again, all the opening of the Fed windows. I mean, you didn't overreact. And now that it's over, and let's face it, way over, you're going to come out on television and say, hey, yeah, we're not too worried. We're not worried. You know what I think they are, though? I actually think they are worried. Right? The dot chart did move. A couple of more, it was only one more vote, but still. Another one of them said, you know what, we need to keep raising. You think that's going to be good? Right? I know Donald Trump doesn't like it. Right? Because let's face it, higher rates is going to put more pain on the public. But I think they're realizing, this is what I think. I think they're starting to realize they got a bigger problem at hand. It was a great presser, though. He was cool hand Luke. He was playing the role of cowboy and saying everything's great and don't you worry. And yes, again, that mythical wage hike stupefied him. And he just couldn't understand it. Because he did say, you know what, when you look at the survey data, and he said it, he actually started, when you look at the survey data of a small business, you look at the survey data on employment, you look at this survey data, that it defies logic. It is survey. And do you ever just think that maybe we should rely more on the actual data versus the survey data? But I don't know, that's just me. But it did. He didn't see wages. They did talk about how they are not going to overreact to inflation. But I'm going to tell you, because I think they're starting to figure out what they really have. Right? Is stagflation. Prices are rising. Matter of fact, we got more price rises again, import prices and export prices, big jumps. Here's some good news today. The retail sales killed it today. Killed it. Now, is it going to be adjusted? My guess is it will, but it was a great, even when you took out, now gasoline was big, but even when you took that out, retail sales were up 0.5% in May. We're going to get a GDP number. I'm pretty sure we're going to get something 3 plus. Now I saw a headline of 4. That's not very likely, but I'll take it. I'll take it. The problem is what we didn't get and what we need to see is the savings rate. How much did this spending cost the American public? We're going to have to wait and see. Here's another one that was out. So, again, I keep telling you how poor we're getting. Eric, at least 2 or 3 times a year. And for those of you who don't know who Eric is, because Eric, he hasn't been on the show, isn't on the show very often, and really hasn't been for years now. But Eric, he's my uncle. And actually, really, technically, he's my wife's uncle. And he founded Patriot. He was the guy, before Patriot even existed, he was actually on the air in Colorado at KHNC. And he would always tell the story, and he did it 2, 3, 4 times a year, about how when he was still in high school. And listen, back then, it wasn't that uncommon where a senior in high school was living on their own, right? Because a minimum wage job, you could buy an apartment. You could rent an apartment. And he talked about how he worked at Bridwell's Texaco. Matter of fact, it's still here too. Bridwell's Texaco in Scottsdale, it's still there. And he pumped gas and did oil changes and rang up the register. and he was able to afford a truck. Of course, the truck was, $1,000, then an apartment, working minimum wage. Now, yesterday they tried this BS about how inflation's under control, and even though it's above 2%, and I just told you nothing but lies, right? I don't know what the real number is. I'm looking at my own personal life, and it appears to be for me about 7%. I mean, that's a hard nut to swallow. But this was out of the Washington Post this morning. The economy's booming. Some states have raised the minimum wage. But where does that leave you as far as renting an apartment? We'll talk about that next.
This is the Phyllis Schlafly Report, a daily broadcast from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, a national volunteer organization founded by Phyllis Schlafly and continuing to uphold her legacy by opposing radical feminism and representing a traditional conservative perspective in our nation's capital. Now, the president of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, Ed Martin.
Every year, Phyllis Schlafly Eagles hosts a collegiate summit in Washington, D.C. This conference provides in-depth training, behind-the-scenes access, and stellar networking opportunities to help students who are facing the overwhelming wave of radical left-wing propaganda on their college campuses. These students are vastly outnumbered by hardline leftists and college faculties, and the students must be armed and encouraged. The liberals treat universities like the property of the political left, and it's up to us to train and teach our young people how to defend themselves. Every year, we see an amazing group of students from colleges all across the country. Here are a few of the encouraging messages we've heard from students who attended in past years. From a student at the University of Florida, this experience was one I'll never forget. From the University of Central Oklahoma, I gained valuable insight and knowledge into the conservative movement. From the University of Texas, I walked away energized and armed to take on the liberal left and to get involved. Thank you for such a wonderful opportunity. From DePaul University, love the event. From Hamlin Law School, very excellent, and I will strongly recommend it to others. From the University of Central Florida, I can't wait to go again next year. And from the University of Alabama, it gave useful talking points on how to combat liberal arguments. One student from Southern Methodist University said, I love the interaction with other conservative students. One from Georgetown University said, I particularly enjoyed hearing the student panels about how conservatives can become active on college campuses. From a student at the University of Colorado, I enjoyed members of Congress coming down from the Hill and spending time with we students. And one from Fordham College wrote, I brought back many ideas to my college. If you're a college student and would like to attend this free 3-day conference on July 10th, 11th, and 12th in Washington, D.C., go to phyllisschlafly.com and sign up today. This is Ed Martin, president of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, and Phyllis taught us to make the Collegian Summit really special for the students. I'll be there and look forward to seeing you there too.
Do you know a college student expressing frustration with their liberal ideology and anti-Christian propaganda on their campus? Encourage them to join Phyllis Schlafly Eagles and other conservative leaders in Washington, July 10 through 12, for the annual Phyllis Schlafly Collegian Summit. The conference is free to students who register at phyllisschlafly.com. That's phyllisschlafly.com. Thanks for listening, and join us again for the Phyllis Schlafly Report.
800-951-0592, $20 Libs or Saints. If you absolutely have to have one or the other, let us know. Otherwise, let me take care of you. I promise you'll like it. They're $13.35, so about $31 over spot today. Silver Eagles, which I'm going to tell you right now, and I hate it, and I've been saying it way too much. But this is down to 75 ounces of silver for an ounce of gold. Remember, it got into the 80s. It's on its way back, and I told you 65 is kind of the norm, at least in my opinion. Backdate U.S. Silver Eagles, $400, so about $2.75 over spot. You don't even have to buy and that's not volume. You can buy 1 roll, 5 rolls, 10 rolls. So you can if you want to buy the case, you got it. If you buy 15 rolls or more on silver, and you're not a pickup guy in Phoenix or Colorado, and you're a shipper, we'll ship it for free if you buy 15 rolls or more. 800-951-0592. So let's recap. We had some good news. Retail sales was outstanding. Will it hold? We don't know, but let's take it. Now, part of the problem with it being good is looks like more rate hikes are coming. A lot of it because prices are just rising. Jay Powell, straight shooter. I don't know if he's capable of not being. So it could get very interesting with him if things are starting to go the way that I think they're going, right? It'll be interesting. His press conference, they aren't long, right? They're not very long, and you actually can understand everything he says could be very interesting. So I'm going to go, that's too good. Odds for faster rate hikes, I think that's good for us. That's good for gold. I know people still, they don't get it. They still want to say it is. Right? And I'll just point to the 70s. That's all you need to know. By the way, one of the guys that I love, Jeffrey Gunlatch, you know what he thinks? 10-year notes going to 6. Yeah. Man, I don't even want to think about it. 6 is going to be mind-blowing. And it's funny to say that because when I started here, that's where it was. 5. 5.5. A 10-year note, that was the Fed funds rate. So a 10-year note was above 6. First house me and my wife bought, we paid almost 8%. $3 trillion may not be big enough. I told you we're going to run a $3 trillion deficit 10 years from today, and at 6%, it's going to be higher than that. And we talked about how the debt payments are just swelling, they're just blowing up. But that's bad news, right? I put that in the bad column. That now 8 out of the 15 dot plotters are like, I don't know, kind of looking not so good, especially when they talked about the infamous pay raise that's non-existent. But two goods, the import and export prices, that was bad, right? Again, more inflation on both sides, coming into the country, going out of the country, and then you look at the Washington Post today talking about here's what's real. Okay, we know based on the government's reports, and Jay Powell talked about it yesterday, that if you're fortunate enough to be a full-time worker, you make $881 a week. That's the guy right in the middle, okay? Not the average. The average price is actually a little lower than that because this is the median price, so it gets a little skewed towards because you got a guy that makes $1 billion going off against a guy that's making $725 in one of the states that hasn't raised the rate, but neither here nor there. Talking about, before the break, we're talking about how when Eric was in high school, how he had an apartment and a truck, and he worked and went to school. I can tell you when I left my house, right, same thing. I was working minimum wage at Osco Drug, right? It wasn't Bridwell's Texaco, it was Osco Drug. That's where I worked. Minimum wage. I was making $3, and I want to say it was $3.35. Okay, and this was, 1989. And you're able to get in an apartment, get a vehicle to get you around. Today, according to the Washington Post, following up on what we've been talking about, nowhere now, and I couldn't believe this because I always thought, I know you can't do it in the big cities, right? You can't do it in San Francisco, Denver, Phoenix. The economy's booming. States have been raising minimum wages. But even with recent wage growth for the lowest paid workers, there is nowhere in the country where someone working a full-time full-time minimum wage job could afford to rent a modest two-bedroom apartment. According to the annual report released by the Low Income Housing Coalition, nowhere in the country, that's right, not Alabama, not Arkansas, not West Virginia, not South Dakota or Wyoming or Iowa, they said one would need to earn in the cheapest places in the country $13.84 an hour, or $29,000 to afford a two-bedroom there. And by what they're talking about, the cheapest place they can find, Arkansas. By the way, minimum wage in Arkansas, $8.50. Now, remember, we used to talk about, and I remember it so vividly, right, where Eric was doing General Motors is going to go bankrupt. He said it right on the air. The stock was $42 stinking dollars. And I was so mad, right, because I'm like, man, we've got credibility here. We've got facts on our side. Don't go crazy. And he would laugh, and he's like, it's going to happen. You watch. And I don't know why I doubted him. Because remember, when we first met, I loved Eric. I did. I like all of you. Everyone loves him. He's a lovable guy. But he was whacked. The guy was a wacko, right? The tinfoil helmet, that was him. And now look at it. Now I own the stinking company. That tells you all you need to know. Even the $15 living wage that's being championed wouldn't make a dent in the vast majority of states. Told you. Right now we need 30, not 15. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back. 800-951-0592. Listen, I know it's summertime and you want to go on vacation. You don't think you need to worry right now. You do. Pay attention. Hawaii. Now, Hawaii is expensive. Okay? We all know that. Who wouldn't want to live there, right? You need to earn $36 an hour. And they're using the word modest. I'll tell you what that means in a minute. San Francisco, for a modest two-bedroom apartment, you need to make $125,000 or $60 an hour. This is what you got. This is the fantasy land that we live in right now. This is how big the debt bubble is. To live in a dump. Colorado is so funny. It's so funny this came out today. I was actually talking to Jason yesterday, and we were talking about the cost of an apartment. And I said to Jason, here in Phoenix, you could find an apartment, not a two-bedroom. We were talking about like a studio, but a two-bedroom to put apples to apples, probably for about $800, and you would not want to live there. Okay? Well, Arlene she literally is laughing right now because she knows. You trust me, you do not want to live there. Okay? Colorado, you need to make $24 an hour to live in a dump. Arizona, hey, we're a little cheaper. It's only $18.50 to live in a dump. According to the report, one bedroom is affordable for a minimum wage worker in only 22 counties, not states, counties. Think about that for a minute. In the entire country, and I'm going to tell you where they are. Right, they're in a place where nobody lives. Right, some remote little town. That's the only thing I could possibly imagine where that could even be affordable. And yet they're trying to pretend that things are going well. This is why more and more people are falling behind. But just to put it in perspective, so now they want to raise rates even more. The unintended consequence, they don't want to admit it yet. Listen, did you really think they're going to get away with it? Come on. They created, and it's not just our central bank, all of them. By the way, so gold's up, silver's up, the dollar is skyrocketing today. The euro's having the worst one day, I think, ever. Mario Draghi came out. He is the Jay Powell of Europe. Said that the European Union is going to start slowing down its bond purchases, and that sometime in 2019 they won't be buying any more. Okay? So think about this. Every month now, there's even more bonds to be bought in the world. He said that they have no plans, zero plans, to raise rates this year, next year, maybe the year after, and actually lowered GDP for the Eurozone. Things are actually slowing down in Europe. I told you about Japan. They went negative last quarter. Even their central bank said they're going to try to buy less, which would mean even more. People might actually have to go to a Japanese auction. I don't know if it will happen or not. And then really the bigger news today, bad retail sales data out of China. So that really drove down all of the prices here. It's got the dollar, again, rising. But now we've got this situation where the dollar, right, gold's reacting to the higher dollars because it's not good, right? It's good for gold. And we're seeing this whole thing of, I don't know how this is all, who's going to buy all this stuff, right? That's kind of the problem. And where is the wages, right? We don't have it. And think about this. How many people can go out there and make $25 an hour? Come out and make $25 an hour. That's $1,000 a week. That's $52,000 a year to live in. That's what it costs to live in a dump in Colorado. Right? Phoenix, it's only about $45,000 to live in a dump in Arizona. In San Francisco, it's $60 an hour to live in a dump. But here's what else is happening. Let's talk a little tariffs. I want to get to it because the European Union has announced that they have signed off on what they're calling the first phase of retaliation against the steel import tariffs, and they're saying that they are opening the door for a special levy on a range of American goods as soon as next week. The goods are, and here's what made me laugh, because they said, number one, Harley Davidson, that's not funny, right? Harley's struggling. Now you know why. No one has any leftover money to buy themselves a Harley. Right? They've already been closing down plants. Bourbon whiskey, right? So I guess Jack Daniels, Jim Beam going to take a hit. I don't know how much of that's done. And Levi jeans is on the list. And we don't even make Levi's here. So I'm not sure how that affects us at all. I mean, we don't make them. Right? I mean, Levi's is headquartered here. They're looking to a 25% duty on $3.29 billion of U.S. goods starting next week. We'll keep you posted. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. Things are going to get more expensive, unfortunately. Airlines say they're going to be raising ticket prices because fuel continues to skyrocket. Earlier this week, I told you about UPS. UPS could be facing a labor stoppage saying that haven't seen that in decades, as more than 90% of the shipping company's union members voted in favor of going on strike if a deal is not reached before August the 1st. Of course, that issue, you guessed it, pay. And I get it. Again, you're going to strike at UPS, but it's not UPS's fault, right? Just like when the teachers are striking, right? I get it. I sympathize. I'm in the same boat. We're all in the same boat. The Federal Reserve killing us. Nashville Teachers Union is pushing for a tax hike on the budget. Why? Well, you guessed it. It's coming everywhere, right? Hey, we need more money. 1 in 10 workers now, man, is an independent contractor, according to the Labor Department. Again, this is why you want to know why the jobs numbers don't make any sense. You finally do. Retail says, I got a funny feeling the millionaires and the billionaires are spending. The SEC, the Security Exchange Commission, of the 385 recent stock buyback announcements, when companies announce exactly how much of their stocks they're going to be buying back, executives use this as a way to cash out. Insider selling at companies doing stock buybacks has hit a new all-time record high. Well, what do you think that tells you about where they really think business is going? Right? If they really thought it was going to be great, wouldn't they keep holding on? Now the SEC is starting to investigate. I don't know what they can do. There's nothing they can do about it. I told you this is what they were going to do. Today, U.S. $20 Liberties or Saints. You pick it if you have to. $13.35. Gold's $13.03, $13.04. So $13.05, $31, $32 over spot. Backdate Silver Eagles. Listen, we haven't had them for over a month. My guess is if we sell these out, we won't have them for another month. You're saving $10 a roll. You're saving 50 cents an ounce. $2.75 over spot. $400 on U.S. Silver Eagles at 800-951-0592. Gold's up 7 right now, $13.04. Silver's up 27 cents, $17.26. So it's actually $2.74 right now over spot. 800-951-0592. I know it's difficult, right? And things I listen, right? You want to feel good. You don't think you need to prepare. It's going to be wonderful. Be careful about exactly what the Federal Reserve really said. We're going to have to keep raising rates. We're going to try not to panic about this inflation thing, but we're going to have to keep raising rates. Patriot Radio News Hour. Jason and Brian will be here tomorrow. Happy Father's Day to everybody. Thank you all for supporting us when you order, and have a great weekend.